smart, Miona. Miona, now this is your computer.
Okay.
And what are you curious about? You can just hit this and be like, oh, tell me more about this. Tell me more about, tell me more about, tell me more on mangoes.
That didn't. Okay.
And then you can learn more on mangoes. What are you curious about today?
Ah. It's a good question. I'm curious about the symbolism of peacocks and spirituality.
Enter.
Peacocks carry rich spiritual symbolism across many cultures, often tied to themes of renewal, immortality, and watchfulness and transcendence. Hinduism, peacock is strongly associated with several deities. It's the Mount Vahana
Vahan.
Kartikeya,
Vahan means wake
the
up.
god of war, and is linked to Sarasvati, goddess of wisdom and the arts. Krishna is often depicted wearing a peacock feather in his crown. The bird's beauty and its ability to kill snakes, what? Gave it associations of protection and the triumph of spirit or poison or ego. In Buddhism, the peacock symbolizes wisdom and the transmutation of poison into nourishment, since peacocks were believed to eat poisonous plants and snakes without harm. This became a metaphor for the bodhisattva who takes on the poisons of the world, greed, hatred, delusion, and transforms them. So, like alchemy, some traditions associate the peacock with Amitabha Buddha, whose throne is borne by peacocks. In Christianity, the peacock became an early symbol of immortality and resurrection. This drew on an ancient belief that peacock flesh did not decay, and on the annual shedding and regrowth of its feathers as an image of renewal. The eyes and the tail were also read as this all-seeing eye of God or the watchfulness of the church. In ancient Greece and Rome, the peacock was sacred to Hera, Juno. Myth held that the 100 eyes of the slain giant Argus were placed in the peacock's tail, making the bird a symbol of the starry heavens and vigilance. A few recurring threads tied together the eyes of the tail suggesting watchfulness, all-seeing awareness, or the stars. The cyclical molting and regrowth suggesting renewal and immortality, and the dazzling display suggesting integration, beauty, and the soul's glory. Symbols of self-expression, confidence, spiritual awakening, and protection. So there's a lot of peacock statues along the coast here. And there was a lot of peacock statues at our Vipassana retreat in Bangkok, in the biggest Buddhist temple and monument around the world. And actual real-life peacocks were walking around there too. They were really funny. They were like screaming around. I don't know what sound they made, but it was just like, I was like, okay. So we all kind of freaked out because we saw all the sculptures of peacocks everywhere, like golden peacocks and big and small, and they were everywhere. And then suddenly there's a real-life peacock screaming at you, and no one told us that they actually are having real-life peacocks. So they're just walking around the temple, probably being spoiled, rotten by the staff, and they're probably having a pretty good life. So yeah, thank you so much. I recently had a question. Oh yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I didn't even know that's happening. So, what is the difference between a soul and consciousness? I don't think they're the same thing. At least in my eyes, they're not. I believe the consciousness is a very kind of scientific view on it, or word for it. Or maybe they're just completely separate things. I believe they're separate things, but what does the current status of science say about that, or definitions of those two words? Okay, the intuition that they're not the same thing is shared by a lot of philosophers and scientists. Let me lay out on that. Consciousness is the more technical, scientific, tractable term. In its most basic philosophical definition, it means subjective experience, what it's like to be something, to know that you exist, basically. An organism is conscious if there is something it is like to be that organism. This covers the felt quality of seeing red, feeling pain, tasting coffee. It's like, okay, this is all very technical. Crucially, consciousness is treated as something that arises from or correlates with brain activity, which makes it a target for empirical study. You can scan brains, disrupt regions, track which neural states accompany which experiences. And soul is older. It's primarily a metaphysical, religious, or philosophical concept rather than a scientific one. It usually carries connotations that consciousness does not, that there's an essential, often immaterial part of a person that constitutes their true identity, that may be the seat of moral character, and that in many traditions survives or precedes the body. So, reincarnation, where consciousness is generally framed as a process of property, the soul is more often framed as substance or entity, a thing you have or are, rather than an activity your brain performs. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Consciousness is not committing to anything supernatural, immortal, and soul carries metaphysical baggage, identity, immortality, the divine. Consciousness is not solved yet. They still don't know why physical processes give rise to subjective experiences. That's unresolved. It's called, David Chalmers called it the hard problem of consciousness, and it remains open. So neuroscientists are not agreeing that the consciousness is only physical. That's what I looked up last time too. Science doesn't have a definition of the soul or a way to test it because it's immaterial and it's surviving death. It falls outside of their empirical methods, so they can't examine it. It's not that science is disproving the soul. It's just that the soul lives in a different category of inquiry. Some thinkers treat the soul as a religious truth that science simply isn't equipped to address. Some say there really is a non-physical mind, and that the failure to explain consciousness physically, alone, physically, purely physically, is evidence for it. So the fact that you can't disprove it is proof that something outside of the physical kind of has to exist. Okay. Damn, that's a long answer. That's what I'm curious about.
Can I nudge you in one direction?
Yeah.
What would the Upanishads say about this?
Who are the... How do you say that word?
Upanishads, the white people say Upanishads. But it's basically the Indian ancient scripture.
Oh. Atman, I heard of Atman.
Yeah.
I mean, that Atman kind of means soul. or
Atman
self,
means self,
or sometimes soul.
Brahman means universe.
It's not your personality, your thoughts, or your emotions, or even your awareness of particular things. That's what I would think too, because then you would have the same personality and same thoughts and emotions in every life you are incarnated in, which is not true. But there is an element that is carried between those lives, and that's the soul. It's the witnessing presence underneath all of that, that which is aware as distinct from anything it happens to be aware of. You are not your body, not your senses, not your mind, not even your fleeting state of consciousness, because all of those things are things you can observe. The self is the observer that can never be made into an object. Atman is closer to pure consciousness as such, not any particular experience, but the bare fact of awareness that makes any experience possible at all. There's 4 states of consciousness: walking, waking, dreaming, deep dreamless sleep, and then a 4th, Turiya, which is in a state alongside the others, but the underlying awareness present through all of them. Okay. The thing is that there's something continuous beneath waking experience, dreaming experience, and even the apparent blankness of deep sleep. That is always, the self is always there. The soul is, in the Western picture, the soul is your separate individual immaterial essence. Many souls, one person. The Upanishads go a different way. They identify Atman with Brahman, the ultimate ground of all reality, the great formula. I can't say all these words. Meaning the deepest reality of the cosmos and the deepest reality of you are one and the same. Consciousness is never fragmented into separate souls. The individuality is more like a local appearance, and the underlying self is universal and undivided. You're right that the soul and the consciousness aren't simply identical, but the real distinction isn't between a religious soul and a scientific consciousness. It's between the contents of consciousness, which are changing, observable with what science studies, and the ground of consciousness, which is unchanging, the witness that can never be observed because it's the one doing the observing. There's also the thing of non-dualism, where individual souls are ultimately illusory and only the one Brahman is real. Other schools teach distinction between individual souls and the divine. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I kind of see it as is connected to the divine and the source. It's never disconnected. So it's, I don't know if you see this one meme where the universe is, it's like the universe is a big figure. It's like animated. It's like a picture. I can show it to you. I can find it maybe. The universe experiencing itself. The universe pretending to be individuals. So they're all connected. I am the universe, right? My whole body is the universe, and I just have these little fingers, and it's like, this is one person, this is one person, this is one person. And I pretend like I'm playing a game, as in like, oh, I'm actually interacting with myself or different aspects of myself. And I just broke myself up in this multiple bodies to understand myself, because that's what they say, is that what's the point of all of this? The point of all of this is that the source was basically bored of itself, because source was all-knowing, and it had everything it needed, and it knew everything. If you want to like personify it, it's easier to explain that way. And it was like, well, if I know everything, then there's nothing to do and nowhere to be, because it's like I have experienced already everything. So it needed to fracture itself in multiple little parts to be like, I will fracture myself and I will make myself forget who I am. So that me growing up as, for example, a human, a soul in this body, growing up, I learn about myself, relearn about myself. And by relearning about myself, this is a process that is giving me some kind of value. And it's interesting because in order to understand, I have to completely forget and learn about myself, and then I understand myself again from another perspective. Because it has nothing else to do. It's just like, well, if I know everything, then I don't need anything, life's boring, but if I make myself forget about myself, see what happens. That's why they also say, I believe, this whole human experience is just a little game, and you're supposed to not do it perfectly, and you're supposed to have your ups and downs, because that's what Source wants, is just to experience what is it like to not know everything. Because when I already know what it is like to know everything, so what is it like when I don't know anything? How silly are my worries, and how much will I cry or laugh? And because when you know everything, you don't have the ups and downs. It's just pure consciousness, pure knowledge, pure wisdom. It's just like, okay, now what? It's boring. Just the same thing. Every day I wake up, metaphorically, I wake up and I know everything, so what's the point? So it's playing this game with itself. It's like, oh, let's pretend we're humans and we don't know who we are and what we are, and let's see what happens when emotions get involved, because emotions doesn't exist in pure consciousness. It's just, I know everything. So there's no reason for me to get mad or sad, because I know everything is perfect the way it is. I'm just pure presence, pure now, pure. There is no future, there's no past, there's no time. So Source is breaking itself up in like all of these elements that we measure as humans to make itself digestible, to create all of these ups and downs and highs and lows and pros and cons of human existence, simply because it has nothing else to do. Because it's like, okay, this is pure consciousness, now what? I think that's really funny. So actually, in a way, nothing that you do really matters. And also it really matters, which is, they call it, have you ever heard?
The duality of nature.
Yeah, but they call it, have you ever heard of the cosmic joke? Can you explain it?
No.
Can you explain the cosmic joke to us? It's actually pretty fucked up. It's like, even when you read it, you're like, what's going on? The cosmic joke. If your deepest self, Atman, is identical with the ground of reality, then the entire human predicament, the searching, the striving, the sense of being small, separate self, and anxiously looking for fulfillment, meaning, or enlightenment out there, is in a sense looking everywhere for something you already are and never weren't. The seeker is the sought. You spend a lifetime trying to attain what was never absent. Reach what you can't actually be separated from. The joke is the structure of that situation. The punchline was through the whole time, and the setup was not seeing it. Alan Watts, who popularized this in the West, liked to put in the universe playing hide and seek with itself, then one reality pretending to be many, forgetting itself on purpose so that it can have the delight of discovering itself again. From that angle, the joke isn't cruel, it's closer to play. The Sanskrit term lila, divine play, captures it. Creation as a game, the absolute plays with itself, not a problem to be solved. What makes it a joke rather than just a claim is the shape of the realization. A joke works by reframing. Not the acquisition of new information, but a sudden reframe in which the problem is solved because you see it was never structured the way you assumed. People who describe such moments very often report laughter. The laughter of course, of being honestly looking for your glasses while wearing them. Like that's a really good analogy actually. The wearing, when you're looking for your glasses but you actually had them on your head the whole time. And that's what it feels like when you feel the cosmic joke I have experienced it multiple times, and I would just lie there laughing my ass off, and I would be like, this is hilarious that I think, one example, it's hilarious that I think I'm not that powerful, or I can't do something, or I'm limited in some way or form, when I know exactly deep in my soul that I'm way more, that I'm limitless. So why would I even put these silly little human limitations on myself? But it would make me laugh so hard that it's like the best joke that anyone ever told me, because it's so ridiculous that I don't believe in myself when I am Source. How can Source not believe in itself when it knows everything? It is, nothing can stop it. It's pure power, pure magic. Like, how can it be limited to anything? So, and the other thing part of it is, a being that craves meaning, permanence, and significance finds itself in a vast, indifferent universe that offers none of those on its own terms. The joke is the mismatch between our hunger for meaning, so we always try to find meaning in everything, and a cosmos that doesn't supply it because there is no meaning. It's just a game that the Source is playing with itself. The setup is human longing because the human is looking for meaning, but the Source is not looking for meaning. Source is just trying to pass time. The punchline is that none of this actually matters because it is a game. But you trying to act like, oh, everything I do is so important, and when I make a mistake, it's going to be so bad, and if I win, it's, none of it matters. Not the highs and the lows. It's just all of it is like, to the Source, it's like, of course. Like, Source doesn't care about the highs and lows, but we attach meaning to everything we do. It's the only way we can make sense of our existence. So we're kind of we're doing the joke on ourselves. And there's a third, lighter, everyday usage cosmic joke as a wry name for the universe's apparent sense of irony. Yeah, that's my favorite one. The way life seems to deliver exactly the lesson you were resisting, or grant the wish in the form you'd never have chosen by yourself. Less a metaphysics than a shrug at the universe's timing. And some people also say that, like, it's so funny how we think we're so important, and in reality we're such a tiny, if the Source is a big ball, we're just such a tiny little part of it, that we are just a fart of the universe. Like some people say, you're just a fart of the universe. You're just a shrug. Like you don't even matter that much. But you attach so much meaning to everything you do, and then you beat yourself up over it if you're not perfect. But the universe doesn't give a shit if you fuck up or not. It's just here to have its way with you, basically. But you are Source, so you're kind of trapping yourself in this whole thing, and that's the irony. It's just like, why are we doing this to ourselves, Unless you have those moments where you're like, oh, I'm Source, huh? Of course. And it falls off. In German we say, I think in English too, it falls off like fish, what is a fish thing called? There's
Scales.
Scales. It falls off like scales of your eyes, we say in German, when you realize something as if you've been blinded, and then suddenly you're like, oh, of course I'm everything, and everything is one, and I'm part of this big Source. How could I forget? It's like waking up from a dream and realizing that it's been a dream. So the human existence is kind of like a dream, and then you wake up and you're like, oh, of course I'm not riding a unicorn and flying through the sky. I'm a normal human being. You wake up and, but it's not, because human existence is actually the dream. But when you come back to source and you spend just 5 minutes there, you're like, you think every of your problems is such a big deal when in fact it's not, and you're limitless and you can do whatever, and all of this is just a game. So just enjoy it a little bit more. Just be a little bit more present and a bit more human, and enjoy all of your ups and downs and your emotions throughout. I love the cosmic joke because we all think everything matters when it's all just a big ass joke. And the universe is kind of laughing in our face, but we are laughing in our own face because we are it. So that's why it's so hard to explain. Unless you had the whole soul conversation before and the whole why is the universe doing this to itself. But it was already in there. So yeah, I think this concludes a great little discussion, starting at peacocks and ending with the cosmic joke.
How do you feel?
I feel good.
Your first stream. It's incredible.